And you're watching the Weather Network on this Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal, filling in for the lovely Emily Vukovic. Let's talk a little bit about some of our top stories. Of course, we had a very stormy day. If you live in Ontario, you know what I'm talking about. We investigated that. We learned a little bit more about what happened there, so we'll talk about that. Also, the severe potential again for today. And remember, we were talking about Hottober yesterday. Well, October heat and snow, only in Canada, right? All right, let's go to our risk map and I'll show you what we're talking about in terms of severe threat today. Most of it will be up through Ottawa, eastern Quebec. We could see some very strong winds, some damaging wind gusts, and then pretty well a non-severe risk, including some heavy rain potential and strong winds in southern Ontario. Let's play the future radar for you. You can see the residual bits of this warm front. That was yesterday's story. Notice how that fills in. That's a cold front for today, and that's the severe threat that we're talking about. But yesterday, let's show you our must-see video. It was crazy in this area. Look at this. We'll see some strong winds out of that event. Absolutely. Looking at the radar, I looked at the historical data. It does, to me, look like potentially straight line wind damage. Okay, so we get that storm that lines out. We get those strong gusty winds out ahead of it, also known as sometimes as a microburst. Today, general 15 to 20 for you in the GTA. Niagara maybe could see 20 plus millimeters of snow, and rain. And then we do have snow. In fact, heavy snow potentially for portions of Labrador. All right, let's continue our story here. And we have some more watches and warnings, storm surge warnings. That begins today for this area here in southern, the lower Main Shore here. And then we also have wreck house winds for the typical regions. Port aux Basques, we could see some wind gusts that are pretty intense in that region. There's your temperatures and your feels like. Why are we throwing a feels like in? Because Toronto is going to feel like 31. So a humidex, wow, in October. Again, only in Canada, because then you go back to the west, and I mean, yesterday in Edmonton, I think you only reached about 1. Today you'll be a little warmer, but Calgary only 5, Regina 3, feeling like -2. So we go from wind chills to humidex. Yes, in this country. What a lovely country it is. Lots of diversity in terms of the weather. Let's stay with that theme out west, actually. We have one. So today we are going to talk a little bit about our poll question on this Tuesday. This is kind of neat. What would surprise you more in October? Would it be record heat, early snow, neither, or both? Well, we'll show you the results here. I actually voted for both. 15% voted like me. 34% said record heat. Here's some of these responses. Brent from Manitoba says, we had both in my 54 years I have lived here. Nothing surprises me anymore. You and me both. How about, we have another tweet here from K8. It says, last year it was warm going into November. I remember sitting on my deck with shorts on. Actually, sounds pretty fun. Okay, still on this Tuesday ahead, we have the local forecast for you, of course. Rewind, storm chasing, and share your weather. Don't go away. There's lots more to come. It's a Tuesday. We're glad you're with us. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal, filling in for Emily Vukovic. Lots to get into. Let's take you right across the country right now. We have an upper level low still kind of bringing some scattered showers. That will dwindle for you in BC, and you get a bit of a break probably over the next 24 hours. At least we've got snow in northern Saskatchewan and in through Manitoba. And then we also have a cold front working its way through Ontario. We'll talk about all of that. But first, share your weather. See the direction of those winds, in terms of the damage. So is it a swirl? Is it stuff that's just toppled right over? That can sometimes be indicative of straight line wind damage. So lots to be done. But the storms did roll through Barrie, rolled through Collingwood, Stayner, Thornbury, those areas yesterday. Those were the most intense storms. Today, it'll be in through Quebec and through the Ottawa Valley as well. We could see an isolated severe thunderstorm. A lot of the winds aloft with this area of low pressure are going to probably mix down to the surface. And that means we're going to get some strong gusty winds. Also, a cold front will bring some scattered rain showers and thunderstorms through southern Ontario. That warm front you can see moving through Quebec. That's the same bit of business we were dealing with yesterday in Ontario. So it's along this front that we're really going to be watching for the potential for severe weather. Okay, so then Tuesday, the front moves through. You can see off it goes to the east coast, where Wednesday you'll be a little bit soggy for much of the Maritimes. But at least we're not talking about snow yet. We're watching this low, by the way, down in the south move in for the weekend. Yeah, I love that segment. Thanks a lot, Chris Murphy. Okay, so coming up still this hour, we've got lots on the way. Your local forecast, of course. We'll look ahead to the weekend, show you Force of Nature, and the Long Ranger with Dr. Doug Gillum. You don't want to miss this. Don't go away. Live anywhere along Highway 26, you likely saw some heavy downpours, some strong wind gusts, and you may have even seen a tornado. We're still determining whether or not there was a tornado that moved through, different parts of those regions. So whether it was straight line wind damage, we'll let you know as soon as we get more information from Environment Canada, who will be out today to do that assessment. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we have going on today. So we have yesterday it was about this warm front. You can see that red line way up on top of my screen. That'll be a Quebec story today. I'll talk about that. But also, this is the next story for us here in Ontario. It's the cold front. So we've got southwesterly flow. That's why we're so warm today. If you haven't noticed, it's extremely warm already. We're going to be going up to about 25 degrees, feeling closer to 30. With that southwest wind, though, if you're going out for a run or walking the dog, it's going to be very windy. So gusts 60 to 80 kilometers an hour. And that's going to be pretty well through the day as that cold front passes. And then wind and rain will be the severe threat. So where you see isolated severe, better chance of that. But we could see some really strong wind gusts mixing down from aloft with this cold front as it passes through. It doesn't really fill in too much with a lot of thunderstorms. So it seems pretty weak, and it is weak because even behind the cold front, we're not going to really drop a lot in temperatures. We will drop a little, but it'll be more of a wind shift story. Okay, so the Ottawa Valley, though, 10 to 15 millimeters of rain. For Toronto, we're looking at about 15 to 20 mil. And Niagara, you could see some more, 20 plus. And by the way, we're tracking some rain for the weekend as well, but that could tie into a tropical system. I'll have those details coming up. Temps cool through the midweek in the prairies. Again, if you haven't noticed, boy, it's been cold. We've seen snow. We're going to continue to see that snow stay up to the north. And then a big ridge of high pressure builds into the west. So temperatures rebound back to seasonal. A lot of people will be, double digits again, which would be nice. Take a look at that trough, that jet stream dipping in the east. You know what that means? Yeah, more active weather and cooler temperatures basically in the east. Now, we have seen snow. We're going to continue to see some snow. You can see basically toward the west. Calgary, you're not out of the woods yet, and especially up toward the north. Okay, it is time now for the Long Ranger. All right, let's take a look at the precipitation forecast into the Long Range. This is Thursday. We are getting back into another area of low pressure on the west coast. So you get a bit of a break, and then you're back into it again. This is Thursday. Watch as that moves. Our temperatures will change too. Kelowna, you'll be 11 by Friday. Saskatoon, 8. Calgary, 10. Regina, 10. That's a little better, right, than what you've seen lately. Edmonton back up to 8, where yesterday you were only about 1. That's it. And then with the wind chill, definitely cool. Not that that's that abnormal this time of year, but yeah, we like double digits better. Winnipeg, there's a look at your long range forecast. By the weekend, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday temperatures 10s, 8s, early next week 11. Very different in the east. We're going to be seeing, a little bit more rainy, unsettled weather and cooler. There's a rainfall forecast for Vancouver. Don't go away. Lots more on this Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. We are tracking severe weather, and we're also tracking some snow across the country. That's just a few of our developing stories. I'm Jaclyn Whittal. Nice to have you along. Storm investigation. So what exactly did happen yesterday through basically the Grey Bruce County? We'll talk a little bit about whether it was straight line wind damage or even a potential tornado that rolled through. Severe potential again today, and October heat and snow. What do you like better? We'll talk about your poll question coming up in just a second. Okay, so a thunderstorm risk is pretty widespread today, this big yellow blob. That means non-severe threat. So you'll see some rain at the very least, maybe some, hear some thunder, see some lightning. Take it easy out there on your drive home, wherever you're going. And then isolated severe will be more up toward the Ottawa region and in through Quebec. So yesterday it was along the warm front that we were watching the severe weather. Today, it'll be the cold front. Do you see that long line of storms that just kind of rolled through? So we'll be, of course, looking for your video out in the field. We'd love to see what you see. Be careful out there. Speaking of video, here's Chris Murphy with your top 3. That's right. Thanks, Chris. With that cold front, we're going to be seeing about 15 to 20 millimeters of rain, 10 to 15. We'll come back with our poll, but let's go to this video in temperatures, and it'll continue. So this happens in October. So would it surprise you more if you saw record heat in October, early snow? Neither or both? Well, I actually answered both, and a lot of people answered record heat. That would surprise them. Well, we've certainly seen it, and we're going to continue to see record heat, at least for today, especially in Toronto. You're going up to about 25 degrees. So Clayton Haynes actually said what would shock him is the Blue Jays winning tonight. Go Jays, go. All right, still ahead, we have your Long Ranger, of course. We have your local forecast, and we'll have Force of Nature coming up and snowing somewhere. Well, thanks for spending some of your Tuesday with us here at the Weather Network. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. We are talking about Pacific moisture. I know you've had a lot of it. You've had strong winds, We've seen some snow with the upper level low. With the next trough, we're going to see much of the same. We are looking at some rain, and yeah, we're still hanging on to some snow through the prairies as well. It's always snowing somewhere, right, Murph? Damage to roofs. This one shot by my chase partner, Mark Robinson. Collingwood, Ontario. Hard to say whether or not you actually saw a tornado or maybe straight line wind damage. And I know Mark was, really taking a look at things and assessing basically the direction of where the debris was, left behind. So if you see that kind of circular way of debris being deposited, could be a tornado. If you see things kind of toppled over in one direction, sometimes that can be straight line winds. All right, so another one courtesy of Amanda at Love the Whiffy. I think it's Whiffy. Pretty cool shot. Look at that tree uprooted. I mean, certainly if you live there, you're not happy about that damage, but thanks for sending that shot into us. Today, it's a cold front that'll work its way through. We're going to see some wind gusts up to about 80 kilometers an hour. So definitely some intense potential. We have the potential for heavy downpours, and it doesn't take much to hydroplane. Here's more in our Captured. Interesting stuff. Thanks a lot to Michelle Mackey for that. Coming up, your local forecast, science behind the weather, and the next one. All right, thanks, Kev. Also be careful out there on the roads today because we're going to see about 60 to 80 kilometer an hour wind gusts out of the southwest. That could blow your, if you're driving a vehicle that's kind of top heavy, that could be blowing you around a bit. Winds will shift. You see that wind shift and much lighter winds behind the cold front. That will be by later this evening. With this front, though, we could be talking about widespread non-severe thunderstorms. Quebec and the Ottawa Valley, you could be talking about, you could be seeing some severe weather. Okay, we have lots more on the way, including your long ranger. Let's begin that now. All right, let's look ahead to the weekend. We'll start you off in the west. Temperatures rebounding. Yeah, I know you've been seeing snow in northern Saskatchewan and northern Alberta, and even Calgary getting some flakes too. How about 13? That's a bit better, right? That's Thursday. Regina, you'll be back up to 10. Saskatoon, lovely temperature of 9, 7 for Winnipeg. You get the idea. I mean, the cold is staying up to the extreme north. If we take a look at Friday, kind of hanging on to those double digits in the south. And then, as far as your long range forecast, you stay at close to seasonal, and that's nice. Lots of sunshine, though. Really nice stretch of weather. Perfect fall weather, really, where you can throw on a nice wool sweater or a nice light jacket and go for a hike. I love that kind of weather. Same deal for Regina in the Queen City. 10s for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. A few chances of some showers on your Saturday. But back into sunshine for the early part of next week as well. So good news there. Lots to talk about in terms of our long-range forecasts. In the east, we're watching for a rainy system to make its way through, and that's associated to potentially Tropical Storm Otto. It's not a named system yet, but that will merge with some wet weather and a front that'll move through the east. So we'll be talking about maybe a soggy weekend. Thursday, it'll be warm, but get ready for the temperatures to drop off in the east as well, down to single digits, maybe even some lake effect rain over the weekend. Don't go away.